changing. We're flying high, creating a complaint-free world. No more, no more complaining. People, their lives are changing. We're flying high, creating a complaint-free world. No more, no more.
I want to jumpstart something that is core for me. Now, as you take a look at this thumbnail, both of those images are of me. The one on the left with me smiling and trying to look very motivational is a posed picture in front of a green screen that was taken by my friend John Gladman a long time ago. It's like a promo picture. The dumpy, frumpy guy with the Mo Howard haircut sitting there and about 40 pounds too much on him, that is also me. That is me when I was 17 years old. And my father had just given me that car for my birthday. Now, you would expect a bigger smile on the younger version of me, having just been given a Pontiac Teddy. Now Teddy's on the screen with the ball. That's okay. Everybody's now looking at the screen again. My father had just given me this car. This is a used Pontiac Camaro. It's a Camaro. It's a Firebird. I beg your pardon. The Camaro and the Firebird were almost identical back then. So anyway, yeah, my father gave me this Firebird, and Smokey and the Bandit was a big movie then. So rather than it being a Trans Am, he went and had a Trans Am Firebird put on top of the Firebird, the hood of my car, and which was really a nice gesture, although my friends teased me because it wasn't really a Trans Am. All of this to say, I wanted to tell you what preceded my father giving me the car, and which will explain the look on my face, and which will also explain why I do what I do for a living. Teddy has never done this before. He is dropping a ball at my feet to engage me. All right, buddy, you got to knock it off, all right? I'm trying to be brilliant here. Thank you. Okay, we'll see how long this lasts. Anyway, but my father had brought the car up and parked it. This is not actually our house. Dragon superimposed someone else's house. But he parked the car, and then he asked me to come out, and he said, "Now, you don't deserve this, but here's your new car." My father never gave me anything without saying to me the words, "You don't deserve this." I'm going to get rid of the ball for right now. And I mean that. When I talk to other people and talk about my life and my upbringing, I say that I was a poor little rich kid because I was. I, at one point, had several mini bikes and motorcycles, and we had boats, and we were all given a car at a certain age, et cetera, et cetera. We took trips to Europe. And my father never had to imply that we didn't deserve things. It was just his constant admonition. I see now that there was such a fear back then of children liking themselves too much. My mother used to say that the biggest sin you could have was to love yourself. And my father did everything he could to grind that down. And it's a weird thing to give somebody an elaborate gift and then make sure you look them in the face and say, "You don't deserve this." So take a look at that portly me sitting on the hood of this new car, and imagine the mixed emotions that are going on inside of me. In that, I am supposed to be thrilled and grateful for this gift, and yet guilt is not the right word. Shame is the right word. I am being reminded of my shame. Guilt is for something you've done, right? Shame is existential. Shame is for who you are. And so my father would always remind me of that. And I say many times when I do a JumpStart, oh, I'm so excited to tell you what it is today. But I really have been looking forward to this because that constant being told that I don't deserve is what has spun my life off into the weird, painful, emotional life that I've lived. And it is what has therefore driven me to do what I do, to be here with you, to get on stage, to write books. It is not to prove to myself that I am worthy, because 4 million books and 14 million bracelets have not convinced me of that one bit. Being on Oprah has not convinced me that. My books being translated into 40 languages has not. I looked up the word deserve a few months ago because I was revisiting in my own mind this reminder of my dad. I was actually thinking about buying a new car, and whether I'm thinking about buying a new car, a new boat, or going on a date with a beautiful woman, my thought is often the first thought there that my dad gave me, and that is, you don't deserve X. And when I looked up the word deserve, the word deserve means worthy, means you're worthy of it. If you're undeserving, you're not worthy of it. Your worth is not equal to what it is you're aspiring to get. And so I was raised in this weird dynamic, being handed cars and college trip, going to college and European vacations and everything. And yet my father would lean down and look me in the face and say, you don't deserve it. And it got to the point where he would joke about it, well, you don't deserve it, but here's such and such. And I remember sometimes thinking, well, if I don't deserve it, then I guess I won't accept it. But I knew that would invite. This isn't my story. This is your story. What is it you don't feel worthy of? What is it you're struggling to manifest in your life? One of the things I got by being a minister in the Unity faith that's commonly said is that you receive in life whatever you're an energetic match for. That means everything from a good job to a bad relationship. You're an energetic match for it. And the way we change is to become an energetic match for more of what we want rather than what we don't want. I've spent most of my life trying to understand my relationship with my dad, and I feel like I've got a fairly good handle on it, but it has come at the expense of a lot of hours of reading a lot of books on psychology and a lot of therapy. And I understand that my father's own challenges made him believe that anything that came through him was not deserving because he was undeserving. And therefore, he felt he was doing me a favor by constantly reminding me of this. And what it did was it set me up to not get the things I want, or if I did, to sabotage them. And over the years, I've come to realize my father wasn't bad. My father was simply wrong. There was a man born in Israel, and he immigrated to the United States when he was a teenager. And I read his autobiography, and he said that life is too short not to have an outrageously high opinion of yourself. His name was Chaim Vitz. You've probably never heard of him by that name. You may have heard of him as Gene Simmons, the bass player and founder of Kiss. He was fortunate, though. He had a mother who worshiped him. It's one of the things I've noticed. If you have parents who absolutely worship you, it's easier for you to have a high self-esteem. The challenge becomes when you don't, which is most of us actually. And then we begin to have to parent ourselves and to remind ourselves. In dialectical behavior therapy, there is what they call stage 4 self-talk. I'm not going to get this right, but stage 1 self-talk is I suck, I'm no good, I don't deserve anything, which is where I've lived most of my life. Stages 2 and 3 involve bouncing back and forth between I suck, or I'm okay, etc. When I make a mistake, then I suck. Stupid. So many people do that. I once remembered a woman I was dating. She made a mistake when filling up her oil reserve in her car. She forgot to screw the thing back in fully and it spilled oil. Well, it took her days to get over being upset with herself. All right. So that's at stage 2 and 3. That's where you don't suck all the time, but you suck whenever you do something stupid. And then there's that stage 4 self-talk. And that is what you want to work towards. And that is where your worth in your own mind, in your own mind and in your own heart, your own mind and your own heart are indefatigable. They are just there. They are yours. And the thing is, we need to cultivate that all the time. William James, the founder of American psychology, was the son of a famous man, the brother of a famous author. Henry James was his brother, and his sister was a famous physician, I think. Anyway, he was the ugly duckling of the bunch and just could not begin to put his life on track after decades of trying to figure out his place in the world, and he decided he was going to commit suicide. And as a scientist, he approached this very scientifically, trying to figure out how, when, where. And then he decided he was going to give himself 1 year. And during that 1 year, he was going to only allow himself to say positive things to himself about himself. It was during that time that his life not only transformed, but because of his discovering and creating positive psychology, the term positive psychology, and the idea that you begin to approach yourself not as broken, but as whole, and to believe that. And then you smooth off the rough edges rather than you are an absolute mess and you need fixing. That was through his believing in and cultivating his own self-worth. So what are you going to do today? It's a Monday. You're going to tell yourself you're behind. You're going to tell yourself you got too much to do. You're going to tell yourself you're overwhelmed. You're going to tell yourself, I got this. This is a day I'll live through, enjoy, and make the best and most of this day as any and every other day. The great Brian Tracy said that the most important thing you can run through your head over and over and over and over again, and I tend to forget it myself, is I like myself. 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 Simply doing that reminds yourself of your worth. You must like yourself. Your worth must be good if you like yourself. And then who gives a damn how everybody else feels? What matters is how you feel. All right? So let's approach today and every day that way. Let's make ourselves our own greatest advocate. Put aside what other people have said, because you know what? They were wrong. They were wrong. The only person who gets to judge your value is you. In listening to all of these celebrity audiobooks recently, that's a common thread. Lucille Ball, Jerry Lewis, Ron Howard, and especially Bruce Lee, an outrageously high opinion of themselves. Whenever Bruce Lee would undertake a new type of martial art, one of his first questions to the instructor is, how long is it going to take me to be better than you? He pissed off a lot of instructors in the process, but he also reminded himself that that's where he was headed. We get to decide where we're going. Don't let what other people have said about you determine you. All right?
No more, no more complaining people. Their lives are changing. We're flying high, creating a complaint-free world. No more, no more complaining people. Their lives are changing. We're flying.